So, all right, then let's begin with the session. Hello, everyone, again. My name is Anurag, and I'm your host for this session on connecting engineers to industry. This would be a series of webinars where every week we would be having guests. We would be talking about technological happenings to keep you updated on what's going on in your field. And we would be having guests to give us an insight of their way of working and how they see the engineering connecting with their field of work. So this is a place where you would be coming every single week for 30 minutes to get a know-how about the industry and the approaches being used in the industries, and how we need to have our thought process, how we need to have our insights so that we can have a successful career up front or even now. So in this webinar, we would be talking first about the idea with which led to the conception of this wonderful series of connecting engineers to industry. And then we would be speaking about the importance of a multidisciplinary approach. What is multidisciplinary approach? Why is it important? How is it used in the industries for the problem solving method, and why the industries focus a lot on the people who know a little bit of everything, and not a lot about the for the people who know a lot of only one thing. So we would be looking into this aspect as well. Then we would be looking into an engineer's portfolio. Now, what is an engineer's portfolio? During the first session of the webinar, which was conducted on 30th of April, we discussed in brief about the portfolio that the engineering students should be making, which nowadays is not being made by the engineering students. Not nowadays, actually, it was never made. Other than the students of architecture and civil engineering, nobody makes the engineering portfolio. But having said that, it is very important even for a computer science engineer or mechanical engineer or electronics or telecommunication engineer to have his portfolio. It can be on a website, it can be a piece of document or anything, because putting everything in a resume or in a CV is not an ideal way of explaining what you have done or what are your capabilities. So the engineering portfolio plays a huge role in that side. Also, we had a lot of requests after the first webinar to explain how to make an engineering portfolio. So I would be showing mine, and you guys can take it as a reference and make your own. After we would be talking about the team. I would be showing you the members of our team. I would be introducing you to them. And then because from here on we would be having one session every single week, and it's not necessary that I would be the person every single week. So we would be having different people with different guests. So once I introduce you guys to them, it would be easy for you to relate to the topic and then relate to the way they are speaking and to relate with the faces as well. Now, looking at the first topic that we had, which is the idea. Now, what is the idea on which the connecting engineers to industry was conceptualized? The main principle is to bridge the gap between the institute and the industry. Now, as you know, institute is a place where a foundation is laid. But having said that, there is a huge gap between what is being taught in the institutes and how the industry. And this is not the fault of the institutes, as we always say. We always say that the institute is not good, but actually that is not the fact, because the institute's job is to provide you a foundation, a base from where you are supposed to build your own building. You are supposed to construct your own building on top of that base. But the thing is, the people to help you to construct this building are very less in any part of the country, and also not only country, in any part of the world, because we have more trainers than mentors, we have more teachers than guides. So this aspect has conceptualized the idea of starting the webinar on connecting engineers to industry. Now, the second question is why? Why is it important to connect the engineers to industry? Well, I will give you a shocking statistic. Less than 52% of the freshers are retained by the companies after the end of their first contract. It means that more than 48% of the students, the freshers who are hired, they are fired. They are hired. Yeah, so they are hired and then fired after after the end of the first 6 months of the contract. The reason for that is that the students are very good on paper. They have a lot of certification courses. They have taken a lot of webinars like these, but the problem is the implementation part is missing. Now, these certificates hold a huge value for getting a job, but for sustaining a job, suddenly these certificates are of no use, because then your skill, your understanding of the industry comes into place. A significant percentage of professionals or students who are not equipped with the required skill set catering to the evolving business requirements. So these aspects are going to be discussed through these webinars, and you guys would be informed about how the market is behaving, how the market would be behaving, how the people think, how the professionals think, how the people working in the industry think. So these are the topics that we would be covering through connecting engineers to industry for you not to fall in that 48% category. And then the last question comes: how can you connect with the industry? It's not that how we can connect you to the industry, because we can try as we can. But if you don't have the intent, then there is no point of that. Then you cannot connect with the industry, because I have been like for the last 3 days since I have been texting people regarding this webinar, I have received a few calls in which the students were asking me, okay, so when is the webinar? It's on Sunday. It would be at 3. It would be for half an hour. Okay, would we be getting a certificate at the end of the webinar? And my answer to all those students was, please don't attend the webinar, because if you are here to get a certificate, then I don't want you to be here. Because the problem is, students worry more about certificates than the value that the certificate should bring to you. So don't worry about the certificate, because it doesn't matter, because certificate is a useless piece of paper if there is no value to that. You can have 20 certificates, I can have 50. That doesn't mean that me having 50 certificates dominates your 20 certificates or 25 odd certificates. It is the value that each and every certificate is bringing to your life, is bringing to your education career. So concentrate more on bringing the value rather than worrying about the number of certificates. Now comes the question: how can you bring the value to this certificate? One of the approach that we would be discussing, which is the multidisciplinary approach, that you are supposed to have an understanding of multiple areas. You are not supposed to be the frog in the well. कुएं का मेंढक नहीं होना है. But we are supposed to understand every aspect that surrounds your engineering department, or every aspect that surrounds the engineering network. And the second thing that you can do, execution of the life projects with the industry professionals. We all have a very important part during our engineering career called an internship. Every student is supposed to do an internship and a thesis. Rightfully, they are supposed to do, and they go for the internship. But the thing is, more than the duration of internship, the important time is the period after the internship, because before the internship, you are studying the theoretical subjects. You gain the knowledge, you try to understand what the things are, and then you are processing things. It's good. But then when you go for the internship, you try to attain the technical and the experimental idea about your subjects. But as soon as you come back, if you're not connecting, if you are not interrelating what you saw during the internship and what you studied before that, the things would just vanish from your head. I will tell you with my personal experience that I did 3 internships till now in my life, in my total life, in my whole life. The first internship was in Bhilai Steel Plant in Chhattisgarh. I don't remember anything of what I did over there. The second internship was in Central Institute of Tool Design in Hyderabad. I stayed there for 1 month again, and I absolutely did not get any knowledge. I have zero understanding of what I did there, and I forgot completely. Even today, I don't know what I did. Then after that, I did my third internship was an 8 months internship in Portugal, where I worked in a mold making company. And even till today, I remember every bit of that. The reason for that is during the internship, what we were told is you are supposed to prepare a report which connects every single aspect of your subject. So when you're connected, so when you're talking about every single aspect of your subject, you are bound to connect what you are studying with what you're with what you are watching in the industry. This interrelationship, this interconnection is very, very important. If you are not having any life projects, if you are not being mentored by the people from the industry after the internship period, then you lose the essence, you lose the effect of having the internship. So these were the ideas on which, on the base of which the Connecting Engineers to Industry has been started, this initiative has been taken. And now let us look at the importance of multidisciplinary approach. Now, I would just pause the slide for some time, and I want you guys to look at my face. Okay, hey guys. So what is a multidisciplinary approach? I will give you an example, and on the basis of this example, we would be looking and we would be discussing about this approach. Let us take an example of making a coffee. Okay, so what are the ingredients that we need to make a coffee? We need to have milk, we need to have coffee powder, then we need to have sugar. So these are the 3 main ingredients which are required for making of a coffee. So these 3 are your raw materials. Then on the side, which is a constant thing, what you require is a gas oven or an induction oven, and gas or electricity depending upon the kind of oven that you are using to make the coffee. So now on one side you are having your fixed raw material, and on the other side you are having your variable raw material. So here you are managing your inventory. The inventory management is here. Now you start making the coffee. First you put the milk, then you put the sugar, then you put the coffee, but you don't put any amount of sugar. You measure the things. You have a measurement, right? You have a measurement of putting, like for example, for 2 cups of coffee, you would be putting 2 cups, like 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then 1.5 tablespoon of coffee, for example. And then you prepare a coffee. You tasted it. It's very good. It's brilliant, the coffee. So what happens? Now comes the work of your brain. What your brain does is it starts to map the complete process of how you made the coffee, and it would be labeling that as the best coffee, right? So now let's go to the next day. Now next day you're going to make the coffee again. So now what happens? The second day when you are making the coffee, your brain will start to enact the whole process again. It will try to map exactly as much possible, as close as possible, the process map of the first coffee, so that you get the same taste, because neither your body nor your mind likes to have a change. So it will try to enact exactly the same process that you used for the first time making of the coffee. Okay, now you made the coffee, the process was done, and then you tasted the coffee, and then it was rated as bad. So the first coffee was pretty good, the second coffee was bad. Now what your brain will do, now here what you did, this is a quality analysis. This is called as quality analysis. This quality control is being done by your brain automatically, and this you do every single day. So you have done this quality analysis. Now what your brain will do is it will start to connect, it will start to compare your existing process of coffee making with the previous process of coffee making, and it will identify the points of failure, which led to the change in the taste, right? And then what it will do, it will superimpose like this both the ideas, and it will try to find the points of failure, like did you add more sugar, did you add less sugar, and all these things. It will automatically then come up with the possible solutions. When it comes up with possible solutions, it will also reason the solutions and use the process, and then it will start to visualize the process again of making the coffee. This is how the things work. This is how the mind works. Excuse me, just a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm back. Yeah, so what it does is it starts to visualize the whole process again. And during the second phase of visualization, it will start to eliminate the solutions. It will start to eliminate the solutions which it mapped during the first time, right? So now what happens? During the second time of mapping, it will start to compare, it will start to make the analysis based on a few pillars of business, which we discussed during the first time. During the first webinar, we discussed about the three pillars of business, which are time, flexibility, and cost. What it will do is it will try to analyze, okay, if I increase the time of boiling, is it good? No, I'm going to spend more gas. Okay, that option is ruled out. What if I increase the amount of sugar? No, it will be bad for health. Safety department, it's out. So like this, it will start analyzing different aspects, and it will come up with the best possible solution. Now, what you need to observe, what you need to understand is that you are able to visualize the whole process, you are able to find the problem points, and you are able to find a decent solution. Why? Because you had an understanding of the whole process of coffee making, starting from the raw material management, then going to the shopping, then going to the finished product and every single thing. And even in the industries, the things work exactly the same way. There is no difference between the concept of making a coffee and analyzing and understanding the failure points to any kind of being work carried out in the industry. It can be a software development company, it can be a manufacturing sector, it can be a designing facility or anything. The concept is the same. So what is the importance of the importance of the multidisciplinary approach is that it will help you for the process visualization. Once you are able to visualize the process, you would be able to move towards problem finding. Because engineering is not about finding solution. Engineering is about problem finding. I'll just switch it over to the presentation, because I think I'm talking with the presentation and I'm putting this on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So after the process visualization, your mind would be able to map to find the problems. Now, once the problems are found out, it will start to have the process visualization again. It will visualize the process again. Now, the second time when it starts to visualize the process, it will do the process of elimination of solutions. You are never supposed to force a solution on any situation. You are supposed to eliminate the solutions based on the situations. Only then you would be able to find the best possible solution. If you try to, because this is how the mind works. If you think that this is good, then this is good for you, no matter how much someone convinces you that it is bad. But if you think that this is bad, it takes a lot more effort for someone else to convince you that it is good. So this is a psychological thing. That is why the process of elimination is used when people are looking for the best possible solutions. So this is the importance of multidisciplinary approach. If you are very good in data analytics, for example, one of the parts when we were discussing about the coffee, when we were comparing the amount of sugar that we added, when we were checking the amount of milk we added, that is what data analytics is. You had an historical data. The historical data was collected on the basis of the previous coffee, and then we created a new coffee today, and then we started to compare both the coffees. Now this is what data analytics is. If you are very good in data analytics, then you stay in the data analytics department. If you are very good in designing the whole process, you stay as a process manager. If you're very good in planning and execution, you stay in planning and execution. But if you have an idea of all the things, then you go on top of all these people and you become the manager. So the multidisciplinary approach is very important in the companies to solve the problems and also to have a sustainable career. So whenever you are studying something, whenever you are looking at some kind of a thing, always remember that it's not only you. It is not only you working in that situation, because when you go and work in an industry, you would be having a team of many people. And when you are talking according to a data analyst, you are also supposed to think with a perspective of a mechanical engineer. You are also supposed to think with a perspective of a finance guy. Otherwise, you are just going to have one solution and you will try to force your solution on everybody. And that would be very difficult to work in a team. So multidisciplinary approach is very, very important. Now, this topic of multidisciplinary approach, we would be talking about this for the next 3 sessions as well. Now, I'm a guy from production, so I presented this with a perspective of production. But for the next session, the person who would be coming might be a computer science engineer, or might be an electronics guy. Now, during the next session, he would be explaining you the same approach with his perspective, how he sees the multidisciplinary approach working in a manufacturing unit according to the eyes of an electronics guy, which is very, very, very important to have an understanding of how the same topic is viewed by different people of different parts of the industry. Now, this elimination of solution, what we were talking about, this whole thing, process visualization, the multidisciplinary approach and everything, there is a term for this in that quality management, which is called as FMEA. It is failure mode effect analysis. In one of the sessions, we would be discussing in depth about this as well, about the failure mode and effect analysis. So now, I hope this multidisciplinary approach is quite clear to you guys of why is it important. So we can move to the next one, which is the engineer's portfolio. Now I would show you my portfolio. You can see this and you can take this as a reference, and I want each one of you to prepare your portfolio. I will just share the screen with you guys in a minute. Okay, I hope you guys are able to see. Yeah, this is the website of our company, and this is my portfolio, which I created recently for you guys to see. And I'm going to pass this link to you guys so that you can go and check the portfolio, and you can use this as an example, as a reference, and you can build your own portfolio. Now, it's not necessary for you guys to have a website, but if you have a website, it is much better because you can make it interactive, user interactive. Like when you are sending a resume for a job to someone through LinkedIn or any platform, you can also send one link stating that, okay, here is my portfolio, and in that portfolio what to add, that you can that I would be showing you now. So the first thing is you have to put a photo here, photograph over here. I know this photo is not good, but this is the only one that I was having. So you have to put one decent photograph over here, and then a statement that you believe a lot. Now for me, I never feared criticism. I always feared stagnation. For me, the growth is very, very important of an individual. And when you start achieving something, or when you're trying to do something different, you are going to face criticism for sure, because your perspective is not necessary that it would be appreciated by every single person. So that is why my motto has always been that I never feared criticism, but I always feared stagnation. That what if I don't grow? And after this comes the education. So I have a Bachelor of Education, Master of Science, and a post graduation. So here you can show the education that you have. Then I have worked as a design and development guy. So here I'm showing a few projects that I did. So when you build a portfolio, you can do something like this. And also in this one, how you can do is you can make this like this, and then when someone opens, this would be opening up, and then they can scroll it and they can see, they can visualize all the designs and everything. But having said that, instead of this, it would be better for you guys to create this kind of a system where if someone clicks, there would be a description box coming outside, and there would be a description about that design, just a few lines. And then as a project leader, now I have successfully implemented 2.7 million euros of projects, blah, blah, blah. So you can implement, so you can write these things. Now, these are the projects of automotive lighting. So it is important to group, like all these parts are from automotive lighting. So all these things are grouped in one place. Now comes below, this is the brake pedal support. Now these are the mold which was used to make this part. So the design was done by me, and then the whole conceptualization, the machine planning, and everything was done by me. So this was the one complete project. And here I don't know if the internet is not like this is how. So when I'm here, that, yeah. Now this, yeah, sorry, this is called a business case. Yes. Now it is stopped. Okay. Yeah, I'm not having very good internet. But I will pass you the link. Okay. Stopped again. This one when it starts. So this have grouped the complete project, and then coming to development projects. Now here is a small spin again. It's execution of 5 research and development project worth 4.4 million euros. 4.04. Now here, if you observe, I have written the name of the projects, all these projects, the 5 projects, these ones, and then here I have given them a reference link which they can go and check if they want to make confirmation that if actually I was involved or not in the project. So this reference is very, very important. And now this was one of the projects that I executed with a company in Portugal, where I was the key driver of the development project. After this, the way the tubular sections are being made right now in the automotive industry is completely different now. Here is the link again. If you click the link, you go to the website of the company and you can see all the details. And then comes the clients. So I have worked directly or indirectly with the clients of automotive lighting, Magneti Marelli, SMP Verica, PSA Varroc, Volkswagen, BMW, Maserati, and Audi. So these are the few clients with whom I have worked. So now this is how an engineer's portfolio is supposed to be. So what you can do, so what you do is you directly send this link to the person who is going to hire you, or to the person where you are applying for a job. So this is a complete descriptive thing. Now, if you go and try to squeeze this thing in the resume, then it becomes a 3-page resume or a 3-page CV. I have always, I have known people who said, who used to boast about this thing, saying that my resume is of, like my resume is almost four pages long. And this is not something that you should be proud of, because the resume is not supposed to be long. It is just supposed to be short and informative. Okay, having said that, rushing on, because I know we are a slight delayed on time. So now coming to the team that we have. Now I have already introduced you to myself, and you have already seen my portfolio. So let's jump directly into the second person, which is Mr. Vinod Kotha. Mr. Vinod Kotha is also a mechanical. He is also a mechanical engineer with a master's in product design and development. He has mentored above 250 students till now for education and career guidance. He's also the founder of Basic Consultants, who is our partner. He's right now working as the project manager and commercial for one of the largest mold producers in Europe. He has a client base of over 14 OEMs, such as SMR Automotive, Tata, TVS, and all these companies. Mr. Vikrant Singh has an experience of more than 7 years in management and marketing with logistics, manufacturing, and IT. He has helped entrepreneurs to build products by providing artificial intelligence, machine learning, website development, like mobile development certificates. Sorry, this mobile development services and all. So these three. So we three are the core members of the team. And then we have Mr. Guru Kiran Gowda. Now, Mr. Guru Kiran Gowda has an experience of 5 years working in Belgium and Portugal as SAP consultant for Comta, Deloitte, and Mix Bangalore. He has worked as a software development engineer for the Prometric exam questions as well. He has authored a book which is named as Autonomous Wheelchair with a Smart Driving Mode, which was published by Lambert Academic. I have known Guru for a long time. He's a very dear friend of mine, and I rate him very high academically and also in terms of his professional achievements. The second is Mr. Karthik Raju. He's the managing director of SN Tools. He is who work in the aerospace and defense sector of manufacturing. He also has 7+ experience in R&D sector. He has published 3 research papers in field of machine cutting technology. He has trained over 300 students and professionals in manufacturing, tooling, and costing related topics. So he has a pretty good resume. And then Mr. Sumant S. Sumant S is a design. Mr. Sumant S is a design and analysis expert working with various startups and on government projects for the last 5 years. He has actually designed a waste management system, which I saw it is brilliant. It is awesome. He designed that for the Karnataka government. He's also a certified coach for CATIA, Creo, SolidWorks, and AutoCAD, and he has trained more than 200 students and professionals in the last 5 years. So yeah, he has very good knowledge about the design and analytics softwares. Now, Mr. Karthik Raju and Sumant have joined, and also actually Kiran, and also actually Guru Kiran. These three have joined us recently in the last month in the company regarding our masterclass, and it has been a very good experience till now working with them. So yeah, so this is it from our side on the presentation side. So in case you have some question and answers, we can move with this. Actually, I would suggest that we are already running out of time, but we can see if there are any Q&A. The only Q&A that I'm having . Okay, one of the guys asking me, can you explain how a fresher guys can make a portfolio? Yeah, how a fresher guy can make a portfolio is, what you can do is you can add the certification courses that you have. But having said that, I always say certification doesn't add any kind of value for you until and unless it is backed with some kind of a development project. So having said that, every single time that you have a certification course, you are always supposed to have you're always supposed to derive some kind of a development project from that, and you should also publish that in your website, that okay, this is the certificate, and in this certificate I did this and this and this. So so instead of like in my portfolio, I was having this like working as design and development, then project leader, after that research and development. Instead of that, what you can do is you can divide that into first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. In each year, you can divide that into two columns, like first year and second year. Sorry, first semester and second semester. And after that, what we can and then what you can do is you can explain what projects you did in first semester and then what projects you did in second semester. But you are supposed to make sure that you do a project every single semester. For understanding the subject, it is the key to have an interrelationship between the technical knowledge that you are getting from the college and the practical implementation. If you don't have the practical implementation, then you won't be understanding the significance of the of the practical of the technical knowledge that you are getting from the college. So it is very important to have the development projects. Well, I'm seeing all the questions are related to portfolio. Okay, can you help us to create a portfolio? This is from Anonymous. I request you guys to put your name, please. I said this thing during our last webinar as well. There's too much of noise because of that video. It started now, seeing like after that. Okay, another guy is asking is, sorry, another person is asking that how can we create a portfolio? Hello.